Oxygen not included just dropped a game changer, literally. The Prehistoric Planet Pack DLC has entered public testing, and it's wild. Dinosaur that eats other critters, new plants, critters and food recipes, buildings and mechanics update, the thrilling asteroid impact countdown, threatening to destroy our home planet if we don't shoot it down in time. This DLC is really adding a lot to the game. For the starter food plants, we have the Ovagro vines. They produce figs, a food of basic quality and do not require any input, but they could not be planted on their own and have to be connected to its mother plant, the Ovagro node. The Ovagro node would spread more vines to the side over time. If the node is to be domesticated, it has to be irrigated with water. When planted initially, a node only spawns 2 vines, and the water to food efficiency is quite terrible compared to bristle blossoms. But as more and more vines spawn, they will be more efficient than bristles eventually. They are also the food for lumbs, the new critter that's kind of a herbivore dinosaur. Lumbs eat figs and convert them to peat, but the best part of them is they could stomp near the plants, dropping harvestable items from them. This means we can now make auto-harvesting farm designs that does not require duplicate labor and without suffering significant delay. Near the base, we also got Sweatcorn, another new plant that produces food. It requires peat to be fertilized, and the yield seems comparable but more than mealwood already. But the product can be further processed in the new smoker building to even double the calories, on top of improving the food quality to +2. However, the plant also needs to be pollinated in order to grow, and this is done by the new critter, Mimika. Mimikas are airborne critters that kinda look like butterflies, and they could pollinate other plants as well to accelerate their growth. They don't need to be fed, and when their life cycle ends, they will harden and turn into a plant form called Mimika bud and eventually spawn another new Mimika. This could potentially be another game changer for farm designs. A bit further away, we have the feather biome, which is the important fiber source of this map. This big critter, Rhex, kinda look like both a dinosaur and a bird, will prey on small critters but not interested in duplicates. They can be sheared for feather fibers, which is the equivalent of reed fibers, but they require eating to regrow their fiber scale. But they often miss on their prey, and it seems to be on an intended design that they will fail to eat the prey until the prey is old enough. This way, they won't eat successfully before the prey could reproduce and risk making the prey species go extinct. Maybe these Rhex have good awareness of species conservation. The critter that would naturally be hunted by Rhex are Dartles, a critter that kind of move like pips, wandering all around and hang from ceiling. They feed on dripper plants and produces bleach stones. It seems the importance of bleach stones or chlorine grows in this DLC with the increased demand. For example, this plant, the Megafrond, produces cookable ingredients, and they can be used in recipes just like sleet wheat. This plant does not require fertilization, and the yield of this plant seems to be even higher than sleet wheat. However, it has to consume chlorine in order to grow. Chlorine has some non-industrial use finally. And the dripper plants, they don't produce something edible for duplicants, but only serve as food for dartles or can be processed into bracken. In another new biome, the Wetlands, we have Jawbo. They are also carnivore, feed on pacus and excreting lime, but they are also not interested in duplicates. Jawbos produces edible Jawbo fillets that can be processed into smoked fish, which is also a big boost in calories. I wonder if the Pacu stay in this DLC just so they can be eaten by Jawbos? Above the waters, we have the Lura plant, which catches flying critters like Gnits and converting them to amber. Amber is a new element that could be processed into fossils or resin. However, this resin is not the same as the resin in previous game versions. Resin is now something that can be processed into plastic in the polymer press. The old space materials, resin and isoresin, is now renamed to sap and isosap. These flying Gnits kind of look like mosquitoes, and they are indeed as annoying by stinging critters or duplicates. Stung critters would have reduced happiness, and duplicants would be stressed with a bit of athletics penalty and sneeziness. And the Gnits would gain a big reproduction rate upon stinging, increasing their population quickly. However, their child form, the Gnit larva, could only survive and grow inside liquid. They are the only critters so far that would suffocate outside of liquid. I guess if we have no open liquid pool, the Gnits will go extinct pretty quickly, given their short lifespan. For the new materials, we have peat that can be digged in the starting biome, as well as produced by critters. Peat can be heated into coal, but they can be used in smoker to process food, or generate power in their own peat generator. While the wattage is lower than coal generator, it also generates polluted water, which could be useful. It can be also used to craft blast shots, which is important for this DLC. We also have nickel ore and shale that serves as starting metal ore and mineral respectively. For the new buildings and recipes, we have mentioned the smoker that cooks food with peat, boosting their calories greatly on top of improving the food quality. Also the Emulsifier, which is now responsible for producing super coolant and Visco gel. But what impressed me is the salt water recipe. For so many years, we were able to do all sorts of alchemy and launch rockets, but we aren't able to merely mix salt and water into salt water. Finally, it is possible now. The new recipe, the biodiesel, is another important ingredient for making blast shots, so we can shoot the asteroid down and prevent the impact disaster. So, how bad and imminent is this impact exactly? By default, the asteroid impact would be 200 cycles from start, but that could be adjusted in the difficulty settings to be as early as 100 cycles, or as late as 500, or even disable the impact completely. If we want to stop it, we have to shoot it with the intracosmic blast shot for 100 times to completely destroy it. Each intracosmic blast shot is made by refined metals, peat, and biodiesel in the blast shot maker. The blast shot maker itself used to require a lot of researching, but with this DLC, it could be unlocked for free in the research portal near the printing pod. Doing so also reveals the remaining timer of the asteroid impact, as well as showing the affected range of impact if it happens. The asteroid, named Demolier, could be seen on the star map heading right towards our home planet. If we manage to blast it in time, it will turn into collectible points of interest with some rare resources which can be harvested later with rockets. One of the new rare elements is the iridium, which is a metal that greatly increases the overheat temperature of buildings. If we failed or choose not to blast the asteroid in time, the impact will violently destroy everything within its path and everything in the marked impact range, including buildings, duplicants, rockets will be removed and replaced by the asteroid. It could be quite a big disaster, but it isn't necessarily game over. Some rare resources such as iridium and diamond would spawn and can be harvested by digging, and it even generates extra volcanoes and vents on the planet on impact. If you want to take the risk, it might be a reasonable decision to just make the impact happen. The DLC is still on testing, and some numbers or mechanics might change later, but so far, I really look forward to the new content and mechanics it provides. Which new content do you like the most so far? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe for more DLC update information and Oxygen Not Included videos.